The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Maricela Kelleton.
And I'm Terry Longwood. Join me for all the sports news later on in the bulletin.
In this edition, Interim Council for Innovative University of Enga, drug shortages in West Tipik, and Evara enjoys transition to coach. The 4 Hanuabada fishermen reported missing were found alive but shaken after 21 days of being stranded out at sea. The 4 survivors, Makudai, Frank Dora, Gabi Lohia, and Lohia No, were found drifting in Amazon Bay waters about 251 kilometers from Port Moresby. Domara villagers found the 4 distraught men. They reported that they had lost their anchor in a storm and so used the outboard motor as an anchor. According to the PNG wind map, the windy storm carried them towards East Central from the area they were trolling in. It took them past Rigo district and finally into the Amazon Bay area where they were spotted by Domara villagers in Abao district. Chairman for Motu Koita Assembly, Daddy Toka Jr., said the 4 went missing on February 7, 2023. A massive sea, air and land search operation commenced thereafter, involving the National Maritime Safety Authority, Water Police, Defence Force, concerned families and individuals, including the Motu Koita Assembly officials. The men have since reunited with their families in Hanuabada village. The safe release of the remaining researchers in Southern Highlands province is relieving news for the scientific research community in the country. Acting Chairman and Acting Chief Executive Officer of PNG Science and Technology Council Secretariat, Dr. Kulala Mulung, sympathized with the researchers and their families who endured such anxiety in the past 2 weeks.
Acting Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of PNG Science and Technology Council Secretariat, Dr. Kulala Mulung, has acknowledged the efforts of the government agencies and provincial leaders in ensuring the safe return of the researchers held captive in Bosavi, Southern Islands Province. Dr. Kulala says this unfortunate incident is a reminder to research practitioners, research institutions and agents commissioning such studies to be vigilant. He said PNG has been a hotspot for foreign scientists and researchers in all fields of science without a significant contribution to the development of the country. On the other hand, scientific research work undertaken by foreign scientists and researchers in PNG has contributed greatly to the advancement of global knowledge. For example, the research work on Kuru, a neurodegenerative disease which affected the Fore people in Eastern Islands Province. Dr. Mulung added that the Science and Technology Council Act of 1992 provides the mandatory requirement for foreign researchers wishing to conduct research in the country through visa granting process. The guidelines ensure that research activities in PNG are consistent with the National Research Agenda and in compliance with ethical standards of research as outlined in the National Research Code of Conduct and Ethics Guidelines. The PNG Science and Technology Council Secretariat facilitates this process. Dr. Kulala has also appealed to all those engaged in research activities in the country to work with the PNG Science and Technology Council to progress this area of development with responsibility whilst protecting the interest of the country. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
MP for Como Hulia, Daniel Tindipu, has urged researchers to at least make appointment with district officers going forward to conduct research in any area. Tindipu said letting district agencies know of their work in the area could help prevent incidents such as this.
Como Hulia MP Daniel Tindipu joined in condemning the terrorism-like actions of those involved in kidnapping researchers in Mount Busavi. The local MP also appealed to researchers to make known to district officers and people on the ground of any research work they intend to carry out in their area.
In the near future, any researcher or any tourist like Amlo, this land have area. Okay, then provincial government, they must let the provincial government aware of this. Where one of them go now, or go walking one of them. Now, member of district have must aware, district office must aware. Lo walk about blow. All no one come now. Then also now will come here. So that we can provide, if it means to provide the security or tour guide or only the assistant, people can provide it. So local people have local knowledge law. Whoever is involved in this land, this sort of criminal activities. So
Mr. Tindipu also mentioned that those involved in the kidnapping are from Ella and Southern Islands, whose armed robbery plans at a logging camp in Fugumayu was unsuccessful.
Locals also people like him road now to call him. But it's last stop. So then at the moment also call like him road. So government must open him up road. So I have started the road with the help of the provincial government. People come to fund the working. Now we are going towards the second week. Now road them start finish. So road them because of the tough terrain, and it's going to take quite a while. But then eventually we'll get there. But then people started and road them progress finish. The 2 blocks excavator and 1 block also start work finish. So far we have covered about half a kilometer already.
Tindipu joined Nipakutubu MP Dr. Billy Joseph in calling for road access into these remote areas. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Silva Sika is pleased with police response to crime since he took up office 2 months ago. While commenting on what the senior patrol units are doing around the city, he commended his men for stepping up in the fight against crime in the city. Sika was especially pleased with the officers who responded to a situation at Erima Monday evening which prevented a crime from happening. He said numerous complaints of suspicious men loitering beneath the Kookaburra flyover in Erima drew the attention of police personnel from 7 Mile and Gordon. The police officers walked from the Kookaburra flyover bridge to the Erima Wildlife Runabout purposely to ensure that members of the public were not harassed or robbed by thugs and opportunists. Active police operations at Erima have seen a drop in crime. A community leader in Wewak helped police arrest a murder suspect in Suaduogum village, East Sepik province. The deceased had an ongoing feud with the suspect, and after the murder, relatives of the deceased reportedly burned down 8 houses and a church in the suspected murderous village. The police investigation is progressing well, and Superintendent Christopher Tamari urged the people of East Sepik to seek peaceful ways to resolve complaints and disputes instead of resorting to violence. The inaugural meeting for the Innovative University of Enga Council was underway in Wabeg recently. At the meeting, interim council members were sworn in. Professor Dr. Benedict Yaru is interim chair. The interim council's immediate task is to establish the Innovative University of Enga as a modern university that offers research, learning and teaching opportunities and student services.
An interim council has been sworn in to take lead in modernizing the newest Innovative University of Enga. The Innovative University of Enga Act 2002, passed last July, is now being implemented. Last week, the Interim Council met in Wabeg to witness the swearing-in of the Interim Council members. Part 11, Section 57 of the Innovative University of Enga Act 2002 provides for establishing the Interim Council of the Learning Institution. The Interim Council members were appointed by the Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology and Minister for Sports, Don Polye, on February 2, 2023. The Interim Council is headed by Chair Professor Dr. Benedict Yaru. Members are Dr. Benedict Imbun, Dr. Thomas Webster, Dr. Ken Nangan, Auxiliary Bishop Justin Ain, Anna Bais, and Sandy Saka.
We are targeting 2024 for new intake, but our current focus will be to bring, amalgamate the two campuses that are here, and that's our current focus. And if the policies and systems trial and running, so that when we get to 2024, we'll start asking for new students to enroll under the Innovative University of Enga.
The main objective of the Interim Council is to establish the institution as a modern university, meeting the 21st century requirements in research, learning, teaching and student services.
But we want to mold them and teach them into thinking that, okay, if I'm not going to get a job here, okay, I can also create a business where I can become an employer. So think outside of the world, going to being entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Governor Peter Ipatas, who continues to champion education in Enga, said to implement such a vital institution that will benefit the people, peace and the respect for rule of law is paramount.
We cannot have activities or development if we don't manage law and order. Students will come from all over PNG, but they'll only come if there's peace.
Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
The PNG University of Technology and the University of PNG School of Medicine and Health Sciences are the first two universities in the country to co-create policies to make education more inclusive for women and girls. In February, the Papua New Guinea-Australia Partnerships Incentive Fund worked with Unitec and the UPNG SMHS to develop new gender equality, disability and social inclusion policies, which will embed equity, access and inclusion in all structures, policies and practices to support the welfare of staff and students. The policies were developed during workshops facilitated by Incentive Fund and attended by 43 people across both institutions, including lecturers, staff and student representatives. Incentive Fund will continue to hold GEDSI training workshops with other partner organizations to support them, develop and formalize relevant policies that are inclusive. Meantime, Unitec has received 15 million kina to build a 100-bed dormitory for female students, and UPNG SMHS has been granted 8.7 million kina to construct a 40-bed dormitory. You're watching TV1 News. We'll be back with more local news after this break.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
It's that time again! Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scout School money for 2023. Over 220 winners, 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scout School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
the brain changer.
Open hands.
Hi, with the help of Palmolive Naturals shampoo and conditioner, with these 3 quick and easy tips, I'm going to show you that more natural, beautiful hair is achievable. Step 1, massage your scalp during washing with shampoo. Step 2, apply conditioner to the tips of your hair. Step 3, gently towel dry your hair. There you have it. For natural, beautiful hair, use Palmolive Natural shampoo and conditioner. Have a great hair day.
Strong like you, smart like me.
I hope they don't break.
Now surely look his son. This is Relaxo. Strong plus Shred. Should I try them on you?
No, please. I'll take them.
Relaxo. Very strong, lasts long.
Welcome back. A call to forgive and forget was made to the people of New Hanover in New Ireland Province regarding the indiscretions of their political opponents in the 2022 national general elections. In collaboration, member for KVN Ian Lynn Stuckey and Lavongai LLG President Andrew Ming Kwong acknowledged all 7 factional leaders at Sia Village in New Hanover on Sunday, 26 February. All 7 leaders representing their factions in New Hanover who participated at a peace ceremony at Patia Gaga Village in Ward 2 last month were acknowledged by the KVN DDA and invited to participate in their programs for the next 5 years. Over 1 million kina of infrastructure funding for new school and church buildings, small-scale projects and SME initiatives were implemented, which made up for the previous 5 years when no KDDA government services reached Ward 17 due to the militant conflict that effectively deferred all government staff from entering the area. The occasion was celebrated with a customary 20 pigs, with 7 pigs allocated to all 7 factions. BSP Financial Group Limited has announced the retirement of Chairman Sir Costas Constantino as Chairman and Non-Executive Director of the company, effective from 28 February 2023. Sir Costas first joined BSP as a director in April 2009 when the company was known as Bank of South Pacific Limited and later became chairman of the board in February 2011.
Sir Costas Constantino has retired as BSP board chairman. During his tenure, BSP achieved significant milestones in PNG across the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Under Sir Costas' leadership, BSP expanded its banking operations through acquisitions in several Pacific countries, established asset finance businesses in Fiji, PNG and Solomon Islands, and entered the asset finance market in Cambodia and Laos via joint ventures. He also established a new life insurance business in PNG and completed BSP's dual listing on the Australian Securities Exchange, the ASX, in May 2021. The board expressed its sincere appreciation to Sir Costas for his leadership and commitment over the many years.
Sir Costas, he joined as a director of BSP in April 2009. And was appointed chairman of the board in February 2011. The board and management acknowledge his contribution to BSP, which has been massive during his tenure. Some of the key achievements have been the expansion of BSP's banking operations, firstly in Fiji back in 2009, late 2009, followed by acquisition of various Westpac entities in 2015, 2016 in 5 other countries. Under his leadership, we established the asset finance business in Fiji, PNG and Solomon Islands, and ventured into Cambodia and Laos by way of joint venture entities. And the most recent one, which is a massive one, is the dual listing on the Australian Stock Exchange as well. So his contribution was immense, and he'll certainly be missed by the board.
Robert Bradshaw will succeed Sir Costas as chairman of the BSP board. Mr. Bradshaw joined the BSP board as a non-executive director in 2017 and served as chairman of BSP's Remuneration and Nomination Committee. He has over 25 years of experience in private legal practice, specializing in resource development, industrial relations, banking and finance, and commercial litigation. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
Chief Executive Officer of Air Niugini Limited, Bruce Alabaster, has departed from the company. ANL Board Chairman Sir Costas Constantino announced this in a media statement released by the airline this afternoon. The board has now confirmed the appointment of Gary Seddon as acting CEO, while a formal engagement is being finalized. Costa stated that a comprehensive national and international selection process for a new CEO will be done, including using an independent recruitment specialist. New Guinea is currently refleeting its aircrafts with the purchase of new next-generation aircrafts to improve the airline service. The 49th Hiri Moale Festival is well underway with the first round of judging this morning at the Tutu Beach Retreat in Taurama. These 8 contestants vying for the Miss Hanenamo Crown 2023 hail from different Motukoita villages.
The annual Hiri Moale Festival will once again bring together people in celebration of culture and identity of the indigenous peoples of the city of Port Moresby, the National Capital District, and international visitors. The 49th Hiri Moale Festival for 2023 is setting up to be an event of the year, and what better way to start it off than the first day of judging with these confident lasses displaying their traditional attire and know-how of their culture for the judging panel and supportive onlookers. Each contestant brought their A-game hoping for a chance to win the judges over and belted out their best infamous call, Hediora. The 8 contestants for 2023 hail from Gaire, Pari, Hanuabara, Elevala, Tatana, Koderka and Tubusera, and each with hopes and ambitions to make something of themselves and to help their people. This morning's 7 panel of judges included the member for Gazelle Open, Jelta Wong, Anna Skate, Uduvai, HMF representatives and important guests. Motukoita Chairman Daddy Toka Jr. gave this newsroom his thoughts regarding the first day of judging and the festival and what is to come in the next few days.
First judging is one of the most important for the Hanenamos. We have 8 contestants. They'll be vying for the crown this year. And they get to explain their story and talk about the relevance of what the traditional attire they're wearing today in front of the judges. I feel like they can personalize their approach to this very important event. And I'm really excited to see where they'll go. This is just one chapter in their lives, so I'm really excited what happens to them after the Hiri Hanenamo program. It's a big day. It's a big actually weekend. Let's pray the weather's fantastic for it. So we can go out there and showcase our Motukoita culture.
The second judging event takes place this Friday, 3rd of March, at the APEC House in conjunction with a thank you dinner to sponsors of the 49th Hiri Moale Festival. Carol Kidu Jr., TVWAN News.
The Department of Commerce, Trade and Economic Development in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville is ready to roll out the 8 million Kina Constituency Grants program this year. Secretary Alex Keran-Puna said representative groups from the 33 constituencies throughout Bougainville can start lodging their applications for screening at the department by the newly established steering committee. The screening committee expects to receive 33 applications per constituency. Keran-Puna added that these applications should solve an urgent challenge that a constituency wanted to address quickly and encouraged for each constituency to identify a project that can be funded but at the cost of 200,000 kina. Each constituency can approach their respective members and consult with them on priority areas before lodging their applications. While the deployment of COVID-19 vaccines is a priority of the Ministerial Vaccine Task Force, other relatable issues are expected to emerge as well. Early last week, the Vaccine Task Force set out to visit health facilities and medical transit stores to monitor the supply of vaccines. On a recent visit to the West Sepik province, the Vaccine Task Force identified how apart from COVID-19 vaccines, common drugs such as paracetamol and amoxicillin are currently unavailable even in urban clinics. The team spoke to the officer in charge of Dapu Health Center, Oscar Gumari, who highlighted his team's biggest challenge of not being able to supply patients with common drugs for the past 3 months.
We've been getting shortage of drug for the last 3 months. Basically, all these common use drugs, also Mamoxil, Peganadol, Septrin, and other drugs also we've had plus a salim or supplementary or a around hospital, hoping that all back in plus some drugs, but also we give him difficult salt to understanding more to sort of drugs also.
Gumari says the solution was similar for other health facilities in the provinces and says he understands the challenges that even the West Sepik Provincial Health Authority faces in terms of supplying drugs to all health facilities in the province.
So now we stop the so long. All patients come, basically time in our drugs, we plus referring all around hospital hoping that they could find drugs there. Na suppose no gat mi plus sa advice mo lo may mo marasin pharmacy na king kena isla na we believe mi da solo da ko fishing isla program stop I think all our health facilities one mo green district to lo help mo isla kind problems.
Despite these challenges, West Sepik Province is one of the top 3 provinces in the country, maintaining a high coverage of routine immunization among children, with 50% provincial immunization rate. The Ministerial Vaccine Task Force states that it will only be a matter of time and with assistance from lead partners, partner agencies and the National Department of Health that this solution can be improved. After the break, a look at what's making headlines in the region.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bungum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Strong like you, smart like me. I hope they don't break. Now Charlie Loki's son. This is Relaxo. Strong plus shred. Should I try them on you?
No, please. I'll take them.
Relaxo. Very strong, lasts long.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one-time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Welcome back. Nearly 90% of the population of the Asia-Pacific region regularly breathe air considered by the World Health Organization to be unsafe. Globally, more than 7 million premature deaths are attributed to air pollution, with 2/3 occurring in the Asia-Pacific region. Responding to the urgency for solutions to this growing environmental challenge, common to many countries and cities across the region, the high-level forum on clean air will take place in Ulaanbaatar this week, bringing together ministers, senior policymakers and key stakeholders. To be hosted from March 2nd to 3rd in Mongolia, the forum is jointly organized by the Ministry of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and the United Nations Environment Programme. The forum aims to further elaborate areas of policy and technical cooperation under the Regional Action Programme on Air Pollution and engage multilateral regional and national stakeholders to strengthen science-based and policy-oriented cooperation for improved air quality management. There have been tears of happiness, relief and hope from homeowners at an Ipswich townhouse complex that went under in last year's floods. They were told they didn't qualify for a government buyback due to a legal hitch, but the state government has intervened at the 11th hour.
Only the roofs of the Maihai Grove townhouse complex were visible a year ago. While the waters have receded, only now do former residents feel at ease.
I feel like there's a brighter future ahead now.
Many of these homeowners were overjoyed when the state and federal government announced a buyback program for flood-affected residents. But their hopes were dashed when they were told every owner in the complex needed to apply for the scheme if they were to qualify. Only 34 of the 42 were on board.
I felt that if we had to fight for a couple of people that were saying no to a voluntary buyback, that we were never going to get anywhere.
After lobbying from residents and Ipswich City Council, finally a glimmer of hope. The state government has intervened, saying it will allow council to compulsorily buy all properties at Maihai Grove under the Resilient Homes Fund.
When the announcement came, I cried harder and I realised how much I'd kept bottled up and how angry and sad and, you know, a whole range of emotions that, you know, we'd all been keeping bottled up.
I actually teared up. It was just so wonderful to have such wonderful news for the state government to say that they'll come on and support our community and financially support our community.
The compulsory acquisition still requires formal council approval, but that's expected to be a formality. It already has plans to turn the complex into parklands.
More pressure is building on Queensland's stretched health department, with revelations almost 1,100 opioid addiction patients have been left in limbo after their GP suddenly closed. A leaked report outlines the dire potential fallout, including overdoses, a return to criminality and death.
Each day, Jane breathes as she takes the medication that helps her stay off heroin. A former teacher, depression, abuse and the death of a child sparked heavy use.
You wouldn't have looked at me and thought addict, but I was.
For 15 years, she's seen a Brisbane GP known for treating people with opioid dependence.
Dr. Reese has saved my life, like many others.
Marnie and her husband also used heroin.
It just stopped all the feelings of the pain, guilt, trauma that I'd been through.
Steve first tried the drug in jail. Support and medication has broken the cycle of addiction, crime and imprisonment.
I can work, I can function as a father, I can function as a husband, and I don't need to rob anybody no more because I don't use heroin.
But their hard-won stability has come under threat, with their Brisbane doctor, Stuart Reese, abruptly closing his doors.
Absolutely terrifying.
Days before Christmas, the Medical Board of Australia imposed conditions on Dr. Reese's registration, limiting the number of patients he sees and requiring supervision by another doctor with experience in addiction medicine. But with no supervisors available, he had to shut his bulk billing practice. AHPRA wouldn't say why the conditions were imposed, only that they're applied when it's believed necessary to ensure patient safety. Dr. Rees was treating almost 1,100 opioid users with medication, including many people coming out of jail. With his clinic now closed, those patients have few places to turn. A Queensland Health report obtained by ABC News says state treatment teams have been operating at or over capacity for many years, and patients unable to continue medication are in danger of returning to illicit substance use and criminality, overdose, death and risks to pregnancy.
It's catastrophic for people in their lives.
Advocates say better planning is needed nationwide.
It's a time bomb that was waiting to happen.
Jane, Marnie and Steve have found places in state-run clinics, but fear the fallout for others.
More armed robberies, more people getting mugged in the street.
Dr. Rees says he can't comment and has lodged a review of the conditions.
Autism affects around 100,000 Australians, and those with the condition often struggle to find a job. One cafe is trying to change this by giving hospitality training to autistic youth, aiding an extra shot to an industry in need of workers.
Cappuccino large scale.
This is the Shine Like Gold mobile cafe. It's teaching autistic youth like Ned Davies valuable work skills.
Last life's made for Valentina. Thank you. Amazing. That's okay.
The staff are paid award rates and the profits help fund other programs that help out autistic youth.
$4, thank you.
Autism is a condition that influences how people learn, interact socially and respond to their surroundings. A 2019 report from the ABS found autistic people were 8 times more likely to be unemployed than people without disability. Advocates say traditional job interviews are poorly suited to finding an autistic person's skills and attributes.
I think with the challenges that we're seeing today with workforce shortages, I think young people on the autism spectrum have a lot of potential that can be leveraged by employers.
Connor Pangello was diagnosed with autism when he was young. He now manages programs like this to help other autistic youth find jobs and gain confidence.
I see them really come out of their shell. I see them shine like gold, quite literally.
Ned says eventually he'd like an office job, but for now, he's enjoying meeting people and selling coffee.
High five. Ow.
Federal, state and territory ministers responsible for workplace health and safety will meet today to consider a ban on the domestic use of engineered stone. Unions have been calling for a ban on the product, which is linked to the lung disease silicosis.
Tony Burke says that his conversations with state and territory ministers have been constructive. He's warning that Australia cannot delay action on this engineered stone and that it's time to consider a ban, saying that he's not willing to wait around the way that people did with asbestos. So he'll be urging state and territory ministers responsible for workplace health and safety at a meeting later today to consider a ban on the domestic use of this product, while the Commonwealth considers importation bans. This type of stone is commonly used for kitchen and bathroom benchtops and tiles. It is that when it's being cut or filed down that it's most problematic, because it releases very fine silica dust into the air, and when that is inhaled, it can cause what's known as silicosis, and that's an incurable lung disease. The first Australian to be diagnosed with silicosis linked to this engineered stone was back in 2015, and since then around 580 cases linked to this stone have been diagnosed amongst trade people, and Tony Burke says that cases continue to rise and that it's time to take action.
I don't think we should be waiting 12 months before we get them to scope out what would a ban look like. There's a lot of questions there on a ban versus regulation, but at the moment the work they're doing doesn't scope out what a ban would look like, where you would ban, what percentage silica you'd look at. I want that work being done straight away. We waited 70 years from when we were told about the dangers of asbestos before we got to a ban. And I don't want us to be making the same mistake this time.
That's the Federal Workplace Relations Minister Tony Burke speaking earlier this morning. Over recent years, some measures have been put in place to try and mitigate the risks associated with using this stone, for example, using it while it's wet or wearing masks. But the minister says that they haven't sufficiently reduced the risks around engineered stone. If 2/3 of ministers at today's meeting agree to a ban, then Safe Work Australia will begin a scoping study on just how a ban might be implemented, what type of engineered stone will be captured within that ban. The minister says that it could take 12 months or even more before a ban would actually be in place.
The Victorian government says medical testing of more than 800 residents in the state's north has revealed the infection rate of Japanese encephalitis is higher than expected.
Health authorities surveyed and took blood samples from people living in those high-risk areas for mosquito-borne diseases, so the flood-prone areas around the Murray River in the state's north. And they found that around 1 in 30 people had had a prior infection of Japanese encephalitis. Normally there are no symptoms and people don't get sick, but it can cause brain damage and even be fatal in serious infections. So far in Victoria we've only seen one confirmed case of Japanese encephalitis this year, around 13 last year, and a woman who died recently, aged in her 60s, was originally thought to have Japanese encephalitis, but it ended up being the Murray Valley strain of the disease. Now, health authorities say, nevertheless, it's still really important to expand the vaccination rollout, especially in those high-risk zones. So they have expanded it now to 20 local government areas. They say that they have around 20,000 doses. So that means that just about everybody living in those northern areas of the state is eligible for one of these free doses. Unfortunately, though, it does not guard against the other strains of the virus. So that's why health authorities say it's so important to guard against mosquito bites, particularly in those high-risk periods between October and March. So that means doing things like wearing loose-fitting clothing, also using insect repellent, and avoiding those times between in dusk and dawn when mosquitoes can be really prevalent, and also removing any stagnant water around your property from in those flood-prone areas as well. So hopefully that means that people will be able to guard against all forms of this virus.
And that ends the news segment. Here's the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. TV1 News will return for the sports news with Terry Lonbooth. Stay tuned.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bungum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
A quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks Noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks Noodles, tastier but you like it more.
Scope returns to TVWAN on Sunday, March 5th. Tune in every Sunday evening for the latest stories of development around the country. Scope, returning Sunday, March 5th here on TVWAN.
What did you do?
You know, I'm not so keen on this one. I figure you are, but you know what? I'm ready to go.
I think we can do better.
Parachute pants?
Yeah,
Does everybody parachute now?
I want you to win somebody's heart. That's Naren.
I never asked for your help with anything, Dad. Don't impose your expectations.
I'm going to be the one who makes the final decision here.
Thanks for staying with us on TV1 News. In sports, a strong comeback by Post Courier in the third quarter could not bring them home as they fell short by 3 points to a youthful More Printing side 22-19 in the Premier Division of the Corporate Netball Grand Final over the weekend.
An agile More Printing team made up of talented youngsters were too fast in the mid-court as they ran rings around the Post Courier ladies to a good start. Moore's goal attack Mary Lecker was superb under the rings as she took her team to the lead in the first quarter 6-2. Post Courier ran into the second quarter making some changes, but this could not stop the Moore defense as they shut out Post Courier goal shooters Kilagi Kini and Rowena Ugava. The second quarter was a Moore affair as they registered more points with PC losing focus and stamina. Moore took a commanding lead at halftime 13-6. More Printing took the court in the third quarter with a lot of confidence, but it wasn't over for the Purple Ladies as they changed play to restore some lost pride. Picking up momentum in their attack, Moore slipped into a lot of errors, causing a sloppy play at mid-court as PC turned their mistakes into more points through Kinney, who took off to a flying start. PC's goal defense and Pepe's representative Neritha Adula was commanding in her defense. She was outstanding for Post Courier as the team registered 8 points to Moore, cutting only 3 shots in the third quarter. Adula's performance brought the score to 16-14 at third quarter break. In the final quarter, it was anyone's match, but More Printing had the final laugh, winning 22-19 to bag the Premiership title. Jasmine Nero, TV1 Sports.
Special Olympics team PNG to the World Games 2023 in Berlin, Germany has been selected. The team was announced at the SO PNG fundraising dinner by Head of Delegation Ben Theodore and comprises of 10 athletes accompanied by 9 coaches and officials. Team PNG will compete in 3 sports: badminton, athletics and bocce. The Special Olympic World Games will take place in Berlin from the 17th to the 25th of June 2023. This is the first time for Germany to host the Games.
So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, my role as a head of delegation is to manage the team, to ensure that we participate, that we win medals, that we train, prepare properly here. It's not just participating in Germany, but it's also preparing the team. And it is important that our coaches and our athletes are prepared well.
The PNG Tennis Association hosted a 3-day tennis tournament for junior players over the weekend as part of its junior initiative. The event attracted over 50 juniors who participated in various levels, with a team from Lae also travelling to Port Moresby to compete. City Pharmacy Limited was delighted to support the event and the Junior Tennis Initiative by presenting a cheque for 10,000 kina. The sponsorship will assist in the development of tennis as a sport in the country and provide a boost for future players in PNG. The cheque was presented to the president of PNG Tennis Association, Barbara Stubbings, at the start of the tournament by CPL representatives in front of an enthusiastic crowd of junior players. After multiple delays due to unfavorable weather conditions in the nation's capital, the 2023 JT9's tournament finally got underway today at the Moresby Southside Stadium, Calgary. The first leg of the tournament will feature under-20 boys and open women's competitions, which will run for the next 3 days. This year marks the 13th edition of the Moresby South Rugby League JT9's tournament, an initiative of local MP Justin Kichenko to engage and provide a pathway for youths in his electorate. The start of the tournament was deferred from last week due to unsafe conditions of the playing surface after heavy rain. The games eventually got underway this morning with under-20 boys and open women and will run for the next 4 days before the playoffs to determine who goes into the grand final next week. Tournament director Bagelo Solian said after the slight delay, he is happy that all teams turned up ready to play.
Good. We've had all our games played this morning. I think we're about 14 games of the way through the day, another 16 more games before the end of play. So we've got 3 days of round robins. That's today, tomorrow and Thursday. And then we're going to Friday, Saturday, split rounds and the semi-finals. We had all the finals to be pulled back the week to be held with both senior men's finals there.
For the senior men's competition, which starts next week, Solian said with 44 teams taking part this year, makes it interesting to see who will lift the cup at the end of the tournament. He said last year's defending champions Widex and runners-up Ave RLC will be there as well.
You got Widex coming back to defend the cup. You got SSG Roosters, the regular top 16 playoff teams. You got Funeral Home Lamas. They'll all be back this year. Aroma Coast. Yeah, so they'll all be back.
Director explained that it's an open tournament and no restrictions on current former PNG. Director explained that it's an open tournament and no restrictions on current or former Kumuls, PNG Hunters, PNG Orchids and Diesel Cup players, as it is a good experience and opportunity to rub shoulders with the elite players. He said the Moresby South Rugby League, as usual, will use the event as a pre-season and to prepare for the new season ahead. Former Gulf Visa pair and ISO enforcer Mo Evara is enjoying his transition from player to assistant coaching role with PRK Gulf ISO. Mo was the last survivor of the original Gulf franchise ISA pair before the name changed to ISO only a couple of years ago. Kerama Rugby League legend and recently retired Gulf ISO enforcer Mo Evara still loves his rugby league as much as he was playing the game back in his heyday. Mo, a trailblazer and survivor of the original Kerama franchise Gulf ISA pair, continues his involvement with the game today after his swan song in 2021 under current entity PRK Gulf ISO. coming back to the club after retirement to help mentor and groom the next generation of rugby league players was a testament to his love and passion for the game, and more so to impart his vast knowledge and experience and inspire more local players with Gulf heritage to play at the next level.
I've pretty much taken senior. I've been a senior player in the franchise for a long time now, being here since 2010. The transition has been easy for me coming on board with the boys, with my experience and what I've learned throughout the years. It's good to give back to the younger boys coming through. It's been hard watching the games from the sideline, but...
Moore, alongside his former Isapea teammate Lawrence too, have enjoyed rendering their time to assist ISO head coach Roger Laka run training sessions with the boys since 2022. Just their presence alone has built a lot of confidence and trust among the new playing group as they inspire to develop and better their game.
Last year was a building phase from 2020, 21. And then we try to maintain our core of the team from 2021. So it really worked well for us last year, but we fell away a bit during the season, but we tried to pick it up again, but it was too late for us. But this year we're looking forward with the young our development program coming through, the young boys coming through, the senior boys that we have here. We're hoping we can gel together and have a formidable combination this year.
Moore said though they started off the 2022 season strongly, the team had a mid-season slumber and couldn't pick up again at the back end of the season, which was quite heartbreaking. He said they've had a good pre-season so far and looking forward for a better outcome in 2023.
25 senior boys from last year and some of the boys that we picked up, like Justin Yoka and Emmanuel David, and the other 15 are development boys that came through the pathways that we have.
And that's all the sports for now. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you, Terry. And that ends the news tonight. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water. Cough or sneeze into your elbow and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.